You're seeing scenes from years past of the Toronto International Film Festival, and it's less than a month away, and the team has been hard at work to make it another memorable year. To share more about what we can expect from the festival, films, and more, we're joined by the TIFF CEO, Cameron Bailey. Good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Cameron, it's been I'm going to say a very busy time for you, and we'll get into extremely why it's kind of gotten that way with the strike and everything in just a little bit. TIFF coming up, can you give us the dates, the key dates that we need to remember?
Sure. September 7th to the 17th are the dates. Tickets will be going on sale very soon. You can get all that info at tiff.net. The lineup is done. The schedule is out this week, so people can start making their plans.
That's it. And what can we expect this year?
You can expect great movies, as always, right? About 260 films altogether from 74 different countries, every corner of the world represented. You know, places places you've never heard of. There's great movies coming from everywhere.
Some titles. You said the schedule is set. Opening night, what are we looking at?
We're looking at a movie called The Boy and the Heron by Hayao Miyazaki, the Japanese master filmmaker. Incredible movie. Opened in Japan already, but no one else outside of Japan has seen this movie. This is the international premiere, and this is a guy who made Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro and all kinds of great movies. This one is less for kids than it is for adults and maybe young adults, I would say. Beautiful story, incredibly beautifully told as well. This may be the last film we see from this master filmmaker.
Oh, wow. And then closing night is interesting because this one I wasn't ready for. Sly.
Yes, yeah. This is a documentary about Sylvester Stallone, and you know we know him as Rocky and Rambo and in The Expendables now, but this is really the full story and how he essentially created his persona. He wrote the screenplays. He's a writer, first of all. That's how he sees himself, right? We see him as the buff guy, you know, mowing down bad guys, but he sees himself as a writer, as an artist, and this is the story of how he created these iconic characters.
There's some certain roles that I know he went out for, he didn't get, and he kind of because he basically was like, I'm just going to be done with this.
Yeah, well, if you check out a movie called The Lords of Flatbush from pre-Rocky, you'll see him trying to become a star. He's with Henry Winkler in that movie, and he's one of the supporting actors, but then Rocky was a movie he had to write himself. He could not find roles for people like him, working class Italian-American, and he essentially made it himself. He turned himself into a movie star.
And I think something that a lot of people don't realize is he's hilarious.
He is.
Like, he's a really, when you sit down and talk to him, he's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy. He's a smart guy. He didn't play a lot of smart guys on screen, but he's a very smart guy.
Some of the other titles, let's get into some of the other ones that you want to highlight as
Sure.
well.
I mean, there's lots of them. Michael Keaton has a new movie that he stars in and directed. It's a great thriller called Knox Goes Away. First time directing a movie. He's incredible in it. Anna Kendrick is in a movie called Woman of the Hour, which is really powerful as well, about a serial killer. This is back in the late 60s, early 70s, who was preying on women in Los Angeles and somehow got himself on the game show, the dating game. It's an incredible story, and she plays the woman who actually chooses him on the show, and it's terrifying.
It's so terrifying. I remember seeing a little bit of a trailer for this one, and the way the film is done looks incredible as well. International Film Festival, we have stars and talent and films from all over the world, but we also have audiences coming in from all over the world. If they cannot make it in, what is there for audiences still?
Well, there's lots to see online as well. Now, not the films. During the pandemic, we did show some films online. This year, it's more about the talks. So whether it's in conversation with events we've announced already, Lee Byung-hun and Park Seo-joon, giant stars from Korea. They'll be doing one. Pedro Almodovar, the great Spanish director, will be doing conversations as well. Some of that stuff will be available online as well. Last year we had Taylor Swift in Toronto for one of those conversations, and that was put online as well.
It's amazing. Okay, let's talk about this because I know things from when we last spoke and you were here have shifted. Got the writer's strike that was already kind of underway, and we didn't know how long that was going to last, and it's still going on. You got the actors' strike with SAG and AFTRA in the U.S. that is not ending anytime soon. So you've had to adjust and make some tweaks. How has that been for you, and what has happened in that time?
Well, you know, when the strike was announced, the SAG-AFTRA, the actors' strike in particular, just a few weeks back, it took a minute because things will change, and they're striking companies that are representing essentially the major studios and streamers, but not independent films. And anything made outside of those companies, they just have to apply for something called an interim agreement. They get it, they can turn up, international films not applicable. So I'd say it's affecting maybe like 15% of our lineup. Some of the key films, of course, but the vast majority of the films are not affected by this. And we're talking to lots of people who are planning to be here. Also, not just movie stars, but also musicians. So we've already announced some things. Paul Simon has a great documentary. He'll be here for that. Something we're going to be dropping news about today. One of the iconic 80s bands, classic new wave band.
Okay.
I don't know if I should say any more.
The
news isn't out yet,
think you
but,
should. I mean,
okay.
last time you were here, you teased something that was going to happen later. Today, I think you just tell us.
All right. Well, do you know Talking Heads? Do you know Stop Making Sense?
Okay.
There is a re-release of a new version of that movie in IMAX. And you know, that band split up years ago, and they haven't been exactly friendly since that time. They will reunite.
Come on.
In Toronto.
That's amazing.
For a conversation and a screening of Stop Making Sense in IMAX.
That's exciting for a lot. And thank you for sharing that with us this morning. I appreciate that. People are worried because, you know, the star sightings is what they want. So, you know, to those people that are worried about not seeing some of these big stars, what do you say to them?
Come on down to Festival Street, King Street in downtown Toronto, around where the festival venues are, will be closed for the first 4 days of the festival. We'll have the red carpets, we'll have the fan zones. You're going to see stars down there. It might be a little bit different than past years because some of the people will not be able to attend, but the vast majority will be there, and it's just a fun place to be.
That's it. TIFF.net. Everybody, you can get more information right there. Again, the Toronto International Film Festival, where people, stars and audiences coming from around the world, starting September 7th, right here in the 6th. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to see you.
All right, you too.